welcome to a few Goldilock Bears podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about things we love, things that we hate, and things in the middle. This could be things that we're indifferent about, that we're ambivalent about, that we're on the fence about. These are the gray areas of life. These are the things that aren't in the black and white, that they don't maintain to your precious polar opposites.
I am Vincent Cloud.
I'm John Nemeth.
And I'm David Lauer.
And before we dive into loves and hates and ambivalences and things we're torn asunder about, let's talk old topics. The segment is called the Deja Fuse. Go ahead, John.
We've talked about nose blindness in the past. You guys ever have like touch blindness? So as long as like let's say you're sitting on a surface or you're leaning back against something, like as long as you're not moving, your body like kind of stops processing that you're touching something. I think of this especially like when you're snuggling up with your sweetie and like let's say you're like holding hands or whatever. Like if neither of you move your hand, like your body can't really feel that it's happening anymore. But if you just like twitch your hand slightly, then like okay, yeah, it's still there. Like, do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Vince is thinking.
I well, I got to go back. When was the last time I cuddled with anybody? No, I think I get what you're saying. Yeah, touch blindness. I thought like maybe you sat on your hand for too long or something like that. Yeah, but I think I know what you're saying. Yeah, sounds familiar. Touch blindness. There you go.
It's I kind of like it makes me think of like hot and cold things like temperature, where if I walk in somewhere, I'm like, oh man, this is really cold. And then but I've been sitting there in my like at my desk for a while, and then it's like I feel fine. I'm not cold at all. But somebody else walks in and they're like, "Oh man, it's cold." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's what I thought when I walked in, but now it's just like my sense to it like now it's just room temperature and I don't notice a thing."
Yeah, I just feel
Oh.
like our bodies have all these mechanisms for like not bombarding us with stimulus all the time because there's just so much happening all the time that if you were like taking it all in, you'd go insane.
All
Oh
right.
yeah,
Well,
I have the perfect example of this. I forgot. When I first got a camper, the camper got infected with ants and there were ants crawling everywhere. It's a fucking nightmare. I've since remedied the situation. However, the first trip, there was ants crawling, and like I'm laying in bed, and I could feel an ant, and I brush it off, and then I felt another ant, and I brushed it off, and then I wake up in the middle of the night, and I feel an ant on me, and I brush it off, and then I wake up again, and I feel an ant on my leg, and I'm just like, whatever. And then I'm like, I think there might be one on my arm too. But I just became numb to it because I'm like, this fucking place is infested with ants. And it's 3 in the morning. I got nowhere to go. I'm just gonna fucking and they're not biting me or anything. So it's not like I have like they're just crawling around. So I'm just like covered in ants. Well, not covered, but there's a couple of them on me, and I'm just like, whatever. And I just kind of became blind to it.
Yeah,
is
if I'm gonna keep reacting to every single ant crawling on me, like I never get
Yeah,
to sleep.
exactly. I just close my eyes and just like, and I was wondering, I'm like, does my wife feel this? Or is she on the side of the bed where there's no ants and they're all coming from the wall that I'm next to? And I'm like, maybe I'm like the ant barrier and they're not getting past me.
you mentioned the it's to prevent us from getting overstimulated with all this stuff. All right. Well, is there eye blindness? you know, you know what I mean? Like you can look at something and you're not even processing it. You're just it's just there. I don't know. I'm just trying to think like what other types of blindnesses, like ear blindness,
I
could we?
mean, yeah, I mean, like you kind of get used to like if there's a buzzing sound or something, like you're not gonna hear it forever, it seems like.
And
Um
like ambient noise, like a fan, like all of a sudden you'll turn it off and you'll be like, "Oh man, that was really loud." But like I heard it, but it seemed
yeah.
not that loud.
Like I feel like our brains are like really good at telling us about changes to the environment.
Hmm.
And
Yes.
then sometimes like I mean it's like peripheral vision, you don't necessarily see or notice everything except for what you're focusing on.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
like have you seen those like videos where they tell you like, okay, the purpose of this video is to count how many times the players pass the
Oh,
basketball
yeah.
to each other.
I saw that video.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, one, he passed it to her, she passed it to him. Like, okay, all right, I was paying really good attention. There was 8 passes, and they're like, did you notice the guy in the monkey suit walk through the middle of the scene? And you're like, no. And then you rewind it, and oh yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. Because you're not thinking about that, it's so absurd that your mind is like, why would that even appear? Because you're focusing on the ball and stuff like that. Dave, have you heard of that at all?
Yeah, it's I feel like there's something like that where there's like a bear that walks by, like a grizzly bear or something, and like you don't even notice. You're like, "But there's all people in here." And then
Oh, so there's a bunch of blindnesses in our systems for almost anything. Yeah.
yeah, it's like our brains have like a built-in like security system where it's like, so that way you're not like super overloaded. And it's, yeah, I mean, there's, like certain people are going through trauma. Like sometimes they'll have memory issues because like they kind of like disassociate with what's happening and they kind of just like have a blank stare because they want to stop processing bad stuff that's happening. And then, then they have memory problems with it or, just like weird issues.
Yeah, that's right. Trauma blindness, my favorite.
Once again, another fun-loving topic. Um, and I have a bonus mini deja vu. I hate forgetting the word I wanted to say in the last episode. I was trying to come up with the word resentful, and I couldn't do it. But then I remembered it when it was too late.
Oh man. All right. Let's start the show. Go ahead, Dave.
I am indifferent to learning new technology. Um, so like when I was a kid, I remember always just being amazed that like my parents couldn't operate the remote control. And that's like the what is it? The Ricky Mendoza line, I think, where it's like he was a baseball player who would bat like 230 and if you bat better than 230, you're good, but that's anything worse than that, you're terrible. So like you need to be able to operate a remote control for your TV. That's obvious. But when it comes to other technology, I don't really care if I learn how to use it or not. There's certain like updates that happen on my phone and like they change the photo apps on Apple iOS and it's like a total jumbled mess. And I'm not even gonna bother myself to try and learn how to use it. I'm just like, I'm gonna do it the way I understand, and I'm not gonna try and learn anything more just because I'm like, it's a waste of my time. I don't care. As long as I can get to my photos, even though I can scroll down and there's a million more options of different things I can do, I'm not even gonna bother with it. Like I don't want to learn how to use it. It's something I've lived without my entire life. I don't need to know how to use it. And like so and I kind of noticed that it's stuff that's like work related versus like personal use at home. Like when I'm at work, I'm considered one of the more tech savvy people who's good like pulling up images, getting different operating systems to work, and being able to access certain things and like sending it to different servers. I'm very good at all of this at work, but that's because it's my job and it's a kind of a necessity because I would work overnight shifts by myself. So when you're working by yourself, you have to be able to problem solve and fix things on your own because there's no one else to go to. There's no like help desk, like, hey, help me, I can't figure this out. So I've just learned stuff on my own. However, I don't ever apply that to my own personal life where like I'm gonna learn how to do this. I'm just like, I don't care. Like they come out with like a new update for the Xbox system and I don't want to try and figure out the new menu system. Like, it doesn't matter to me. As long as I can pull open my game and play the game I want to play, like all the extra stuff, I'm not going to learn that technology. And there's just lots of like weird stuff, like even with like Excel and like like the spreadsheet apps. I'm not going to learn all the shortcuts. Like I barely use it. I will, but like not enough for me to actually learn the intricacies of it and like I could be like way better at it if I put in very minimal effort, but I just don't care enough to try. Do you guys have any like new technology that you just don't care to even learn?
Real quick, the Oculus thing, the
VR.
goggles, yeah, virtual reality goggles. I remember I was at my sister's and I put one on, and there was a fucking dinosaur walking there, and then it saw me, and I'm like, no, I don't like this at all. But the other thing is that was quite a while ago, and my vision has started to go a little bit in terms of like what is it where it's nearsightedness, I guess, right in front of your fucking face. So like, yeah, after a while it gets really blurry and it kind of hurts my eyes if I stick something too close. And that really pissed me off because that was never the case for the longest time. So anyways, I'm thinking, well, what happens when I put those goggles on again? If the image can't be that close, I don't think I could. I don't think I could. I would have to take off the goggles and look at it from a slight distance, which defeats the fucking purpose. So
I
that's
feel like
just,
they make like you can buy corrective lenses to put into the goggles. So I have
whoa.
the opposite problem. I can see close up, but I can't see far away, and they could make like my prescription of glasses as the lens of the VR device.
Okay, well, without my contacts, I can't see far away either. So that's why I'm really pissed off. Where I'm like, okay, I can't see things far away, nor things
Oh,
that
it's
are super.
bifocal time for you.
Shit, yeah, man.
Oh, you're screwed now.
Sucks. But thank you,
I had
Ben
that
Franklin.
at the eye doctor's where I'm trying to read the sign on the wall, and it's like, well, if I stand back this far, I can read every line and it's perfect. But if I step closer, I'm not going to be able to read it. So, like, is this an accurate description or like an accurate measurement of my eyesight?
You know what I just thought of? I wonder if for some reason could you make money if you take a picture of it and you sell it to people who want to pass their vision tests?
Blind people are getting their driver's license now. They're like, I aced my test.
Actually, that reminds me. The last couple times I've gotten my license renewed, they're like, "All right, which side lit up when you put your head down into the vision box thing?" I'm like, "Both of them," and they're like, "Okay." It's like all it is. It's like, wow, you're really testing a lot here. Like you have to be pretty honest to fail that thing.
You
Anyways,
know, there's people who fail it who are just like only on the right side, and then they're gonna be like, "Ah, gotcha. You're blind in your left eye."
new technology. John, you must embrace technology like, oh, like a kitten, right?
I mean, I used to, but
Oh my God.
I've it's definitely less and less over time. I like in high school and probably even college, I was very interested in like always getting new computer hardware and like building computers and stuff. And now I'm just like, I don't even care what is the new hard drive technology or the memory technology. I just want like a thing that works and that I can do my projects on. So I I definitely don't embrace hardware technology. And then even software, like my boss is like super into like finding new tools for the team to use. I'm like, oh, I found this thing, this will help us do such and such. And then like in my cynical opinion, it's like, okay, well, we always try the tool and it's like pretty good at this one thing, but it can't do these other three things that we need it to do. So we like waste a lot of time looking into it. It ends up not helping us, and then we have to like get the next tool that comes along that's going to like solve one of those other three things, but then be not as good as the first thing and still can't do the other two things. So like it it just has made me very like not excited to like look into new things that come around.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, like, when was the last time something new came around and you're like, oh my gosh, this is great, this is amazing, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I just like um like I've gone to conferences and I always like do contests and like enter raffles and stuff. And like I've won some pretty cool things that like I tinker around with for a little bit and then just kind of like get bored with it. Like I won one of those Oculus things and I just ended up like selling it because I just didn't have an interest in doing anything with it. Um, or like I won like a one of those drones that you can take like pictures and video from and kind of um I've used it like twice in like a year and a half.
Dang, like that's the one thing that I want to get. I wrote that down where I'm like, a toy. When was the last time I bought myself a toy? I would totally buy a drone.
Jealous?
Envious, yes.
Yeah, like I want like one of those remote control like little helicopters. Like it doesn't need to be like a drone with a camera. Like I don't need to take any pictures. Just I want to be able to fly it around the room, and then
Yeah.
crash it into something and then be like, "Oh no, it broke."
Or like the model like the RC airplanes where you actually have to like take off on like a runway and actually like land smoothly and stuff. Like
Whoa.
I would definitely wreck that the first time I took it out.
Dang. I want to bring up the Boston Dynamic Robots again,
Oh
but
yeah.
I'll leave that for the Dacia few because I do have something to say about that. That's crazy. Um, Segway challenge, perhaps.
Let's just try to learn a new topic, I guess, even though I don't want to.
Yeah,
Do we
there's
have
nothing
to?
nothing wrong with these old topics.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
I hate marketing emails, and I know I've already done. I hate junk mail, but this like marketing emails come just at such like a high volume that I feel like they're their own thing. Like, um, I was prompted to put this in my list of topics. This is also partial deja vu where I was saying like I hated e-ticketing systems. And one of my examples was like I used to be able to just go to the Twins game, go up to a kiosk, um, pick out what seat I wanted. It would print it out and I'd take it in and they'd let me into the park. That doesn't exist anymore. You have to get an MLB account. You have to like sign up for their app. You have to have their app to get into the game. And so I like created my account and like before the like I decided to go to the game on the day of the game and before the game had started I had received like five different like promotional emails from MLB and like I immediately after the game just like had to like delete the app like get rid of like go I'll change all my settings so they stop sending me stuff. Um, Another one that was really annoying, like we bought, like paint for painting different rooms and stuff in our house. So I signed up for an account because it was keeping track of what colors we had used. So I wanted to like log in and check, oh, in this room, the wall was this color, so we could buy like a little touch-up kit or whatever. And they like the paint store is sending me like promotional emails. Like, do you think I'm just like sitting around like, oh, I wasn't gonna paint my house, but since I got this email, now I'm suddenly gonna do it. And it's like like the most annoying thing is like they're always trying to market you on stuff that you already bought. So like, why would you want it? Like, I'm not buying paint all the time that I need to be kept up to date on what kind of promotions the paint store has. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and you would think most stores would know that. Like like you're only going to show up and buy a shitload of lumber like once,
Right. Yeah,
and
exactly.
yeah, so it's so bizarre. Oh, I noticed though, I've been trying to keep my latest email cleaner than the old one. The old one, like, oh my gosh, there's just thousands upon thousands of like mail and junk mail. Uh, um, but this new one though, I'm trying to keep it clean. So it's like every morning I just kind of like go to it because I do expect some emails about stuff. But it is always so interesting. All the shit that just has piled up. Like some days it's like four junk emails, and then some days it's like 15, and you're like, what? And like you click on it and it's just bullshit. It's oh my gosh. Is there like what you did with physical mail, you said like you wrote them and said, "Hey, stop sending me this stuff." Can you do that with emails?
You can, but like they usually have like an unsubscribe link and you click it and then it's like sometimes it just says like, okay, we've unsubscribed you, and that's like the last you ever hear. Sometimes they like are super annoying and they're like, okay, well, we've unsubscribed you from our Tuesday morning
Oh
marketing
my
email
gosh.
list. Yeah. So then like Wednesday afternoon comes around and you're like, what the fuck? I thought I unsubscribed. And then you click it and it's like, okay, we've unsubscribed you from our Wednesday afternoon email list too. And then sometimes they like you click the link and they make you like type in your email to like unsubscribe and then like um check these boxes for which type you'd like to still receive or you'd like to opt out of, even worse. And just um like every like I order takeout food and there's always like that checkbox that you have to watch out for. That's always checked by default. Like, tell me about offers and specials from your store. I'm like, no, I just want to order one thing one time and that's it. And like, uh, I was just talking about this with some of this, like, their business model is like tricking people into like receiving their junk. Like, how can all these companies stay in business when everyone like is getting their thing by accident?
Good
Yeah,
point.
like this problem is like kind of like a new technology thing that I don't understand totally because I have the Gmail app and like you said, I can do the unsubscribe if I don't want something, or I can click on like the three dots in the corner and it says I can mute it. But like, what's the difference between muting it and unsubscribing to it? And because in my head, I'm like, what I want to do is block it. But I don't know what the other two terms mean. Do they all mean the same thing? I'm not even sure.
So unsubscribing is basically telling the people sending you the email to stop sending it to me. Muting is you're telling Gmail that like I know I'm gonna keep getting these, so just don't show them to me, basically.
Okay. It's
So the company
interesting.
is still sending them, but you're not seeing them.
Uh, Yeah, like I don't get a lot because I feel like I unsubscribe or mute or combination of the two enough of like the things I don't want that my Gmail is pretty clean when it comes to stuff like that. But I do like I notice it a lot when I go to like Amazon on Amazon's app. I could complain about Amazon's app all day because like I'll buy a beard trimmer and then they're always suggesting beard trimmers because I bought one and it's like I bought like I bought a $80 beard trimmer. It's really good. It's super high quality. I'm not gonna need one for at least a couple years, but they just keep showing me them. And then, if you like buy like cat food, then it's just like showing me a bunch of cat toys and stuff like this. And I'm like, I don't want this. I don't want to see this.
And
It
like
it must be
there's someone,
effective,
well, that's
right?
true. I mean, or at least someone's convinced the vendors that it's effective.
Yeah.
But I also get emails from Harbor Freight, a company from which I've never bought anything because somebody, I think in Arizona, has a name similar to mine and typed in the wrong address or something. And I like have unsubscribed so many times, but like okay, like sometimes I'll get a receipt for some purchase, which I guess that's different from a marketing email, but then like they'll start like, oh, he bought something new. He must want a new batch of emails coming in.
I live like 2 miles from a Harbor Freight and I love it. They have like the best cheap tools. But I get a million emails and they all go to my like promotion folder where it's just like junk. And they're just
Yeah.
like, "Oh, there's a coupon for this or this and like join the member club or whatever and then get an extra percentage off." And it's like, "Yeah, but to join that club, you got to spend like $50 or something, and I'm not gonna pay money to join your special club to save money." Like, I can walk into the store, look around for what I need, and I can look at the price tag and I can see stuff that's on sale. Like, I'm not bringing coupons to the store. Like, I don't know. It's a weird like tool store that has like coupons and weird promotions, and they always ask for your phone number and your email and want all that personal information. And I went to this a different store and I told him I was like, no, I don't want to give you my email. I don't want to give you my phone number. And because I was just in that mood. Like sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but I was in a mood and I was like, I'm not giving you that stuff. And then the next day I went to the same store with my wife and I was in a better mood and I would have said my email, but it was the same cashier. And I'm like, oh, I gotta have the same stance. I gotta say the same thing I did yesterday. She's gonna have like a deja vu herself and be like, I remember this person. She asked for my email. I'm like, I don't want to give you my email. She was like, phone number. I'm like, I don't want to give you my phone number. And then like as we're walking at the store, my wife is like, what was that? And I'm like, I would have given it to her. Like, but yesterday when I was there to buy shoes, I didn't give it to her and I had to stay firm.
Just give him my email. Everybody else does.
Uh, Harbor Freight. I hate your commercials, by the way, Harbor Freight. Like they must be local. 'Cause, yeah, I see commercials and I hate their fucking theme song, the woo woo or whatever. I don't know.
I've never seen a commercial or
Yeah,
hear
neither
their
have
theme
I.
song.
it's horrible. And I've never been there. I don't know what. Well, like I said, it's local, so that's why.
Two out of three
I've
of us are
never
being
seen one in
terrorized by
Wisconsin.
Harbor Freight, having never been there.
Makes me harbor bad feelings. Uh,
It's frightening.
oh, all right. Segue challenge.
Unsubscribe. Next topic.
All right, I will go. I love screenplay writing. I so I've written a screenplay and I worked on it for over 10 years, I want to say. Years ago, I watched Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, and I was like, this is cool. I want to do that, you know? And I think we've written a movie in quotes, right, John? Like in high school, early high school, we wrote Attack of the Killer Pop Bottles, Part
Yeah.
3. But that was not in the correct format, which is another thing that I love about screenplay writing. Like it's rules. Usually I'm not into rules, especially, when it comes to sports. I'm like, I need to
Such a
feel
bad
loose.
boy.
Yeah, yeah. But when it comes to screenplay writing, I understand it. I appreciate it. I know how to work with what they tell me. So, because I look at books, like if, I have stories in me, and I want to express myself. But when it comes to books, though, it's fucking daunting. And that's why I love that there are rules in screenplay writing, and especially if it's written well, it's you have to be economic with your words. You want to be able to express something with just two words or maybe a sentence instead of just paragraphs upon paragraphs. You can tell the rookies, the newbies, that they don't know what they're doing. So I wrote, like I said, I wrote a script. I have several script ideas, and some have gotten kind of far and some haven't, maybe a couple scenes or whatever. Um, so oh man, I have so much stuff written down. But anyways, I've read several books, purchased and read several books. I took a night class once and submitted my script to the professor. That was cool. I've submitted to shit, what is it called? Well, Script Shark. Script Shark is they review your stuff and you could get like a pass or a consider or a buy or something like that. And I got a pass with reservations. I was like, I don't know how to feel about that.
Wait, so
Um,
is that pass as in pass fail or pass as in like we pass?
pass, fail. Yeah. Like
Okay.
they're like, no, thank you. But it was, there was some stuff in there. I'm like, oh, thanks. I'm really sad, but I also feel kind of good about myself in a way. Hopefully, they don't tell that to everyone. But oh, Trigger Street. Okay, so this website's no longer available, but I loved it back in the day where you can submit your own screenplay, and in order to get it read and reviewed, you'd have to read other people's scripts on the website and review for them. So every review you did, you would receive your own. And that was so cool. I got to read some interesting stuff. I got to read some shit stuff. But like, how you review it, you want to be not so discouraging. So I said, I'll pass, but with reservations. So yeah. Okay, so the other thing is, if you like movies, I'm sure we all love movies. It's the breakdown of how to make a movie happen and stuff. And I love that it's like one page equals 1 minute of screen time. To me, that's just so fucking beautiful. I understand that. I know how to approach that. Um, so I've like there's aspects of screenwriting that I appreciate. Like say when you have the protagonist and the whole point of other characters is to bring out aspects of that main character so eventually they're fleshed out. Like that's the purpose of supporting is to create that main character. And so like example, the Big Lebowski, all those characters are meant to do a little something to him because he's so laid back. But the only time you don't see him laid back, Walter. Walter is the person to bring that aspect out where like Lebowski will
Calmer than
tolerate
you,
so
dude.
much. Yeah, yeah, exactly. You're not wrong, Walter. Walter, you're just an asshole. But that's so great. Like the dude never fucking gets pissed off except when it comes to Walter. Um, there's the beautiful art of doling out information about the story so your audience is kept wondering and then few pages there's a scene and that reveals more of the story, establishing the theme. Oh my gosh, there's so much stuff to I literally have just like a gigantic page, 2 pages worth of stuff. um but yeah, I want to ask you guys though, do you know anything about screenplay writing? Can you identify it all with me? What do you guys have to say?
I know you should save the cat.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah.
I've never been too interested in actually writing a screenplay, despite whatever we wrote in high school. Um, I I know our former contributor to the pod, Matt, has written a screenplay or two,
Yes, I
which
read the one.
yeah, I've read at least one of them, maybe only one of them. I'm not sure. Um, I yeah, it is interesting. Like, um, despite enjoying movies, like when I'm watching a movie, I'm not all that like knowledgeable or like I don't have a critic's eye. Like I know some people will watch a movie and be like, "Oh yeah, like the director did what he could with a shitty screenplay or whatever." And I'm like, "How do you know that?" Like like
That's
did you
great.
read the screenplay and you thought it was shitty and you were surprised how good it turned out despite that? Or like you can like are you just saying like the dialogue was bad or like I don't know exactly what it means when people say stuff like that. Um I I do like the shorthand of screenplays like how it's formatted and like interior night like
Yeah.
the exposition and like stage directions and that kind of stuff. And like you say a page is a minute, but what if you write something like they get into a 5 minute fight?
That's true. Oh my God, my favorite joke about that, kind of, I think, from Futurama, where
Oh yeah.
Fry's like, "Well, it took an hour to write. I figured it'd be take an hour to read," or something like that. Amazing. Uh, okay, well, I do have to admit though, I I am somewhat regretful of knowing how to write scripts because it did change how I approach movies. I for sure. That was definitely a thing where I'm like, oh man, I wish I could just sit down and enjoy a movie more easier, you know? Like I definitely have to like turn my brain off or something like that. But
Kind
but
of pulled back the curtain and saw the Wizard of Oz back there pulling the strings.
but there's some great wizards out there. Like The Social Network, I think is amazingly written. And also Straight Outta Compton. That got nominated for its writing. I don't know if it won, but that was interesting because it's a biopic. And I'm like, typically it's by the numbers and it's not that interesting, but that script was well written and yeah.
I
Uh,
love that movie, but like the screenplay that didn't like jump out to me. I was just like, oh, it was I just thought it was like really well like acted and edited and directed. But I guess, the screenplay is there holding it together, but I like that wouldn't jump to my mind as the reason it was good. But probably because I'm just not educated in screenplays.
it's the effortlessness of it, you know, like this, the writing is so important to movies, but it's like writers don't get that sort of respect. It's so bizarre. Yeah.
I
Um,
I've never written anything like a screenplay, but like I've written like essays in college, like a 5 page or 8 page or 10 page thing where it's like introduction, body of your essay, conclusion, and it's usually like, like this is how I feel about something, and then these are all the facts that support like my reasoning, and this is why I feel this way. So like the thing I wrote was I was in X-ray school at the time, and X-rays are all about images that are black and white, and the what you adjust is the contrast. And the same thing you adjust on your TV screen, you adjust contrast, which is the difference in light and dark shades. So like my whole thing was with contrast, I was like, I hate in life when everything is either good or bad. or no, I love everything that is either good or bad because those are like black and white. It's very obvious, like this thing is good, this thing is bad. But the problem is we live in a world that is infinite shades of gray where nothing is easily good or bad. It's all like perspective. It's all like varying shades of gray, and there's always like a contrast. And then like I had like a story that backed like up my viewpoint was my girlfriend lost her purse. She set it on the top of the car, and we drove away from the Mall of America and we're like, oh man, where's your purse? It's like, oh, I set it on the top of the car and now we lost it. So then it was like, okay, turn around, drive back, and we couldn't find the purse anywhere. And it was like, we looked and looked and we were like, I guess it's just gone. Somebody must have found it. Somebody sent it to her in the mail like 2 weeks later, which was like, oh, that's really good. It's great that they sent it back. But no, they stole all like $120 in cash out of it and like something else was missing as well. And it was like, why would you do a good thing, but then also couple it with stealing at the same time? It was like this weird shade of gray where it was like, well, I guess it's good you got your driver's license back, but not now you still have to cancel all your credit cards. And it was, I don't know. But like that was something I wrote that I thought was really well written and like the teacher like my professor thought it was really good and he like commended me for it, but I was just like, all right, it was like telling a good joke and I'm walking off like, all right, that's the best I can do. I got nothing else to
I've
offer.
peaked.
Like
I've
yep, I'm
peaked
like,
as
I'm
an
not going to
author.
top that.
Wow. Okay, so you guys never had a movie idea before?
Not really. Like I've had ideas that would be like a good trope for a movie or like a good gimmick of a movie, but never like a real story to back it up.
Oh, you mean 20
Yeah.
bucks where you follow a
Yeah,
prop?
exactly. Like that level of thing. Like, oh, what if there was a movie where this happened? But then like as far as like sitting down and writing it, I've got nothing.
Yeah, I've never come up with like the meat and potatoes of like what I would write, but more of like a the art direction of a movie or like the artistic direction of like the plot of something. Like when Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with Johnny Depp was advertised to come out, I came up with this entire thing of what I thought the movie was gonna be. And I was like, oh, it's gonna be like an evil, like more sinister, darker take, but it like really wasn't, and it would like totally my expectations were way off, and I was like, I thought they could have done something really great, but I would have written it in this way and made these changes, and like I'm never like creative enough to come up with something on my own, but only to like critique someone else's work and like this is how I would have done it.
Oh, but see, right there is really fun. Like, yeah, you see a trailer and you build up the story in your mind and you think of the possibilities and the actors and you're like, oh, they'd be great if they did this scene or whatever. So in a way, that's writing. John, remember I our first skit ever you and I did was the cannibalistic women of the avocado jungle of death. And that was just this weird title that we came across online. And we were like, let's just make a skit about that. So we didn't have women or anything, but like we were playing people trying to find the women in the jungle and stuff. And whenever the women showed up, the camera happened to like cut and, and we're like, oh my God, those women were beautiful and shit like that, you know. So that in a way, that's creativity, that's writing. You just need to, read Story by Robert McKee.
Shout out
That
to Adaptation.
Yes, exactly. Oh my
Great
gosh.
movie about the art of screenwriting. And like that's um that's the one movie where like they're forcing you to think about it. And you're like, okay, well that's where like the quote unquote brother took over. And
Yes.
like I just love the way they pulled that off in that movie.
That's so funny. Because
Well, I
I
meant
really got to see
all
that
the
movie.
filmmakers involved, but
no, it's great because on the script, it says written by
Oh,
Charlie
that's
Kaufman
right.
and Donald Kaufman. And
Yeah.
Donald Kaufman doesn't exist, Dave. He's a
Oh my
yeah,
God.
he's a
That's awesome.
character. He's a character the writer made up. That's so fucking nuts. Yeah.
Okay, like a Tyler Durden.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Except
I think
in the reality of the movie, there were two people though. That's the weird thing.
okay.
Yeah.
I was like, Fight Club is like one of my favorite movies and like screenplays. Like, it was based on a book, and I haven't read the book, so I don't know like how much of a difference it is. But
Oh,
a movie I always think about the screenplay for is Shutter Island.
Okay.
Because watching it, I expected a plot twist, and I saw it coming from like 5 minutes into the movie. I saw the plot twist coming, and I was certain that they were going to do a switcheroo, and it like that's too easy to predict that he's just a patient in the insane asylum. But then it gets to the end, and the big reveal is that he's a patient in the insane asylum, and I was like, well, duh, we saw that coming from a mile away. Like I thought the guy investigating him was also going to be in the insane asylum with him, and they were both playing off each other, and like they were both like
Uh,
part of like the delusion of it. But it was, I don't know, like the ending was just so basic, and I was like, you guys could have done better with this. Like, come on.
yeah. Yeah, totally. I think we watched that together, Dave, because I do remember being disappointed near you one time in my life. That's for sure.
I
At least
remember
I
once.
know, like,
disappointment. I remember you were there.
all the reviews for that movie, everybody said they loved the twist and it was so great. And I was like, it was so anticlimactic, but I don't know.
Yeah, see, but that's like you can be a writer, it's not that difficult. It's just you need to be disciplined in it. And that's the other thing. This is the only thing I think I've ever done where it required me to like really focus and pay attention and stuff. But again, it wasn't that hard because I love movies. And so it just like, oh, this is like dissecting a movie and like seeing how the parts work and stuff. Like, oh, like my hands are full of blood now. That's cool. Like I'm touching the heart, you know. And they're like, oh my God, he
Squishy.
enjoys it too much. Yeah.
I I also like I am reminded of Game of Thrones and like how bad the last season was, and people saying like, "Oh, Dan and Dave, they're the worst writers ever." But if you're like educated, you can like look back at some of the scenes they did in like seasons 2 and 3, and there were scenes that were written by them that were not in the books at all. And it was like the Littlefinger and Varys talking about chaos as a ladder, and if they create chaos, they can use that to their advantage. And it's kind of like a metaphor because Jon Snow is like climbing the ice wall in the north, and they're cutting to that. And like this, it's one of the best scenes in TV history, I think. However, even though they were capable of that, they were also capable of some of the worst writing I've ever seen in the final season. And it's just like, if you really care and are dedicated, you can do great work. But if you're unmotivated and you're just looking to get something over with, obviously the result is going to be terrible.
Oh yeah. They rushed that thing like crazy.
Yep.
Um oh, real quick though, in terms of screenplay writing, in terms of like heroes or whatever, Kevin Williamson wrote Scream in a weekend. He was just like he like rented a cabin or something like that, and he's like, I locked the door and I just hammered out Scream, in like 3 days or something like that. And like it was this red hot thing. Like studios were like in a bidding war for that script. And so of course I'm like, "Ah, I gotta fucking lock myself up somewhere and just write my fucking scripts already.
And you're still locked there
Yeah.
to this
Like,
day.
please help out. Uh,
Uh,
oh man.
that's crazy to me to think that he did that because that movie has so many like little intricate lines where they're referencing like movie tropes from other horror movies, like, oh, this will always happen. And it was the way it was put in and like weaved into the story periodically where they would call back to like, oh yeah, that's another movie trope, and they would bring it up throughout the entire movie. Like, I don't know, it offered like a layer of depth because, they're spoofing horror movies, but they're like self-aware of themselves and the characters are self-aware at the same time.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's what kind of made it kind of fast because it's about movies itself. So it's really like it's almost like a parody, but done as seriously as possible. And to me, like I do love parodies, but they do seem kind of easy because that's just you're just bouncing something off of that. It's easy to criticize something that's already there than to come up with something completely off, off the top of your head. So, yeah. Anything else about screenplay writing? They say to write the ending first so you could build themes and characterization and tones to make sure that the ending makes so much sense. You know, we didn't do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what Game of Thrones did not do.
Yeah, what the fuck? Whatever. All right, we're done, right? Tell them about the okay.
I,
Oh
I
wait,
was I
actually, we
was
should go ahead.
I was waiting for like an awesome transition there at the end. You're like, because I wrote the ending first. I have this great segue.
Oh, I wish. Uh, let's see if we should include this. Hey, guess what, listeners? If you're on EC Hometown Radio, we're going to be leaving in like October, I think. Uh, we're no longer going to be around. So if you still like our stuff, follow us to a few GoldilockBears.com.
From there, you'll find links to our direct feed on all your favorite podcast apps or the YouTube channel if you want to see our beautiful faces.
Tell them about the email, John.
Oh, well, like we're sick of coming up with our own topics, so get these lazy listeners and viewers to help us out a bit. So if you have something that you love, hate, or are indifferent to, send an email to topics at a few goldilockbears.com. We'll put a link in the show notes here and tell us what you love, hate, or are indifferent to and why. And maybe we'll talk about it on the show.